to bring us here today to a piece of land that used to be mined for sand and gravel, but now is going to be repurposed and I believe take on new life in really spectacular ways. I think this land can now help shape the future of Northumberland County. You see, county officials and the local economic development team at Drive, they bought this field with a vision to develop it and to do all good things in the community, to sell it to a company that would ultimately bring hundreds of jobs to Northumberland County. But after, and you'll hear more about this, after they purchased the land, they struggled, frankly, to find a company that was able to purchase it, that wanted to invest all that needed to be done to get this land ready for commercial activity. And that's where the Commonwealth came in and partnered with the local community here. Now, thanks to a $5.7 million PA sites investment that we are making as part of a third round of projects like this across the Commonwealth, the Drive team is now able to move forward to develop this land and make it pad ready, making it far more attractive to developers. Drive is going to use the funding that the Commonwealth is providing from PA sites for grading and earthwork to relocate utility poles and install a water tank to get this pad ready for the major companies that want to take advantage of a state-of-the-art site on the banks of the Susquehanna, right along Route 11, with direct access to the railroad. This is a very, very important parcel of land. And get this, just 1 week since we announced that funding, Drive has already heard from several companies who are now interested in moving to Point Township once this project is complete. That is a result of our work together and this direct investment from the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Here in Northumberland County, we are literally turning this mud into real opportunity and into real jobs eventually. But that's not just here in Northumberland County. On my watch, Pennsylvania has now experienced record economic growth. When I was sworn in as your governor, I made very clear that Pennsylvania would compete again, because for far too long, we were not only losing out to other states on economic development deals, we never even got out on the playing field, and we were really struggling. That changed on my administration. We hired top-notch people like Secretary Rick Seiger. In addition to that, we put together for the first time in 20 years a statewide economic development strategy. Because if you don't have a strategy, if you don't have a plan, you don't know where to make sound investments. We also brought Republicans and Democrats alike together to make critical investments, including a $500 million in the PA Sites Fund to be able to develop sites like this into commercial activity. I want to take a moment and just stress the importance of finding ways to work together, Republicans and Democrats alike. I recognize we may not all share the same politics here. You should know that Pennsylvania is one of now only 2 states, we used to be the only state, one of only 2 states with a divided legislature, a Senate led by Republicans, a House led by Democrats. For me to get any bills signed into law, it requires the votes of Republicans and Democrats alike to get it to my desk. And so I've found ways to bring those Republicans and Democrats together around common sense things like good schools, safe communities, and of course, economic development. If you've got a job in the community you love, good things can happen for you and your family and for that community. That's common sense. That's the Pennsylvania way. And this is an example of that bipartisan commitment to economic growth. We heard loud and clear from folks, professional economic development leaders, CEOs, other business execs, that Pennsylvania needed to do a better job when it came to site development. In fact, I remember just a few months into my term as governor, a CEO asked for particular specs to be able to locate their company. And we literally had 0 pad-ready sites in Pennsylvania that I could show him. We went to work, brought those Republicans and Democrats together, created this $500 million PA Sites Fund, put sites in place where we could have electrical hookups and site prep done, water and other key infrastructure ready to go. And now we are landing big deals again for the Commonwealth, and our economy is growing. So far, we have invested $146 million of that $500 million, of that $500 million, into 37 projects across Pennsylvania. This is one of those 37 projects. And we're beginning to see the fruits of our labor. Let me just give you a few examples. In just the last month, so in February, two of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world, Eli Lilly and J&J, bet on Pennsylvania and set up multi-billion-dollar sites in our Commonwealth. It's not just in pharmaceuticals, though. We're breathing new life into abandoned mine lands in Lackawanna County, developing industrial parks just outside of Erie, and transforming brownfields in rural communities like Bedford and places in between. We're spreading these dollars out all across our Commonwealth, and it is working. We are turning this dirt into jobs, and I would argue we're turning this dirt into opportunity and more freedom in our communities. I'm proud of the fact that Pennsylvania is now getting noticed for our economic competitiveness. Get this, for 32 straight months, Pennsylvania has had an unemployment rate below the national rate. Here's another point of fact. We have more private sector investment in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania in my 3 years as governor than the last 15 years combined. Think about that. The last 3 years, we've done more than the last 15 years combined. Last year, we ranked number 3 in the entire country in the number of jobs created. And under my leadership and under our administration's leadership, Site Selector magazine has now named us the top state in the Northeast for projects like this. Moody's reported that we have the only growing economy in the entire northeastern part of the United States. Pennsylvania now is far more competitive, and that works to the benefit of residents here in Northumberland and all across Pennsylvania, because it means more jobs, more economic opportunity, and for our Commonwealth and for our county and for our local communities, it means more tax revenue. And more tax revenue means more police. It means more opportunities to build out our parks and our roads and our bridges and all other things that our citizens depend on our commissioners, our local officials, and our governors, our state lawmakers to do. So this is a righteous cycle. And now that cycle has come right here to Northumberland County with this development opportunity. I want to bring up Jennifer Wakeman, who's been a great partner for us in this work. And as she comes up, I just want to stress the importance of partnerships. I talked a moment ago about being one of the only governors in the country with a divided legislature. It necessitates partnership between the parties to get stuff done. We also understand economic development is a team game, that the state can't show up in Northumberland County and tell you what should go in here. But we show up in communities like Northumberland County where you have a plan, you have a vision, you have a desire, and you just needed a few extra bucks to get you, actually more than a few extra bucks, but you needed a few $1,000,000 to get you over the hump and get good things happening. And as a result of that partnership, we're going to build this field. We're going to have jobs here, and then good things are going to happen in this community. So we're proud to partner with you. We're proud to work together. We're proud to do it that Pennsylvania way, bringing people together. And I'm excited to be here with one of our great partners, Jennifer Wakeman. So I'm going to have Jennifer come up, say a few words, and then I'll return and answer some questions from the media after. Jennifer, thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Appreciate that. It is not every day the governor introduces you. Blah. Okay, get it together. Thank you, Governor Shapiro. I appreciate you being here on behalf of the Drive Board. Thank you for being here to acknowledge and celebrate the Commonwealth's investment in our region through the PA Sites program. When Drive purchased this site in 2022, we had an end user committed to developing this land for their use. But as can happen in our industry, circumstances changed and the project did not come to fruition. Since then, in partnership with Focus Central Pennsylvania, we have put the property in front of numerous site selectors, their clients, our colleagues at DCED, as well as potential buyers, and they all agreed that it's a great industrial site. It has rail access, it's on a state road, it's near an interstate, and it is those details, those buts, those risks that we will mitigate with this PA Sites grant funding. Managing and mitigating risk to spur investment has been Drive's stock in trade as an economic development entity. We take properties with potential, we clean them up, we dust them off, and we make them attractive to companies who are looking to grow in our region. Those businesses may be homegrown, they may be new to the area, but they are making an investment not just in land or buildings, but in the people who call this region home. These investments are the building blocks of a diverse economy that drives regional prosperity. PA Sites is truly game-changing for this property. It has a lot going for it, but it also has its challenges. And we're going to move a lot of dirt to create a pad-ready site. One that is level, as you can see, it is not. It looks flat from the road, is not. It's level, it has no floodplain issues, and it is ready for a building. We'll relocate utilities and provide a water tank for fire suppression. Ready sites are attractive sites, and this one is about to get an epic glow up. Thank you for laughing.
That was really good. I like that.
Yay!
Yeah.
It's a win.
Yeah.
PA sites is what our Commonwealth has needed, and I applaud the Shapiro administration's laser focus on giving economic developers the tools that we need to help Pennsylvania win. The only other person more competitive here today than me is him.
Yeah.
Guaranteed. And Secretary Siger is known for saying that economic development is a team sport, and this project is an example of that teamwork. Friends and colleagues at DCED, you are here, thank you. Provided such great feedback and tremendous insight and guidance, and I can't say enough about the good work that they do every day to advance Pennsylvania. The staff at Drive, each of whom contributed to this grant application in some way, shape, or form and helped get it over the finish line. I couldn't ask for a better team. You guys are awesome. Thank you to the Drive board for never losing sight of our vision, even when it's risky and a little bit scary. Your commitment to this work inspires me every day. And of course, to Focus Central Pennsylvania and its Executive Director, Lauren Bryson, you're the cheerleader and the advocate for this region, and we couldn't do what we do without you. So why don't you come up and say a few words? Thank you.
Great job. That's
Thank
really
you.
well done.
Thank you. Of course.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good afternoon, everyone. Today is actually more than a grant announcement. This investment here in Point Township is a statement about who we are here in central Pennsylvania, and more importantly, where we are going. Through the PA Sites program, Drive is going to be able to transform this 101-acre industrial zone site that has rail access into a pad-ready site for manufacturing and industrial development. As Jennifer already mentioned, and the governor, this award removes risk. It accelerates timelines, and it creates the conditions necessary to compete for high-quality, high-impact economic development projects. These factors matter because today we are not just competing with the county next door, we are competing in a global marketplace. Focus Central Pennsylvania's mission is to attract investment that cultivates economic growth in our region. But to compete for transformational projects, we must first have a competitive product. And in economic development, that competitive product is ready sites. With advancements in technology, thriving companies today have more site location choices than ever. It is very competitive. When company leaders are making a decision on their site location, they are risking millions, sometimes billions of dollars in capital investment. So they need certainty, they need speed, and they need confidence in knowing that that is the right location for their company's growth vision. With Governor Shapiro and his administration's support, creating pad-ready sites like this one here in Point Township gives those growing companies exactly that. As we approach America's 250th anniversary, I think it's important to remember that industry has helped build most of the communities that we call home today. For generations, manufacturing and innovation has shaped our towns, our workforce, and our identity, and today that story continues. But the next chapter looks very different. It includes advanced manufacturing, automation, AI integrated facilities, energy innovation, and those investments are going to require preparation and vision. So this investment here is not just for today's opportunities, but for the industries for tomorrow. And this provides certainty for our people, our talent, and our communities. So this is very exciting. Last but not least, I'd be remiss in my marketing role if I did not mention any companies that are looking for site locations that are in that growth mode. We are ready to connect, we are ready to listen, and now more than ever, we have sites to help support that growth vision here in Pennsylvania. So Governor Shapiro, thank you for your leadership and for your vision to create strong communities. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks very much. So I'll answer questions from the media under one condition. You must put Jennifer's epic glow up line in whatever headlines of your stories. That was a good one. Any questions from the media on this? Yeah.
The Beyond Johnson & Johnson and Eli Lilly, are there any other end users who have announced plans to build at one of these 35 other sites that receive funding?
Yes, and we can have DCD provide you with a list of them and where they are on a map. Happy to do that.
Are there any patterns or trends as to what types of industries have expressed the most interest?
Yeah, I think it's largely trending around the 5 key areas of economic growth that we set forth in our strategy, right? So life sciences is one of them, energy, robotics and technology, manufacturing, and ag. Those are kind of the 5 key areas that we've been focused on, and that's where we're seeing the growth opportunities. And so, you know, we're proud of the fact that our vision is sort of playing out, that we've got the dollars to do that. I should have mentioned before, we've also cut taxes 7 times, coming together as bipartisan basis to cut taxes, which also makes us a far more attractive environment for businesses. So we're staying close to those 5 key areas. The dollars we're investing, the taxes we're cutting, the bipartisan work we're doing, that's all helping drive progress in those areas. And we're happy to give you a map laying it out across the Commonwealth if you'd like. Anything else? Yes.
Hi, my name is Mackenzie. I'm the editor of the news item in Shimokins.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. I appreciate
Big
it.
round of applause for the media. That's exciting. Yeah.
I was wondering if you believe that such a huge economic investment in properties in this part of the county would be a catalyst for future economic revitalization in... The floor is yours. Tell me more about that.
No, I sure do. Look, I think central Pennsylvania is an area that needs more investment from the Commonwealth. And I'm also a believer that when you invest, you're not only investing in the job that's going to go right here, the building that's going to house new employees here, but it becomes a catalyst for additional investment because companies say, hey, Northumberland County is a good investment. That's a safe bet. They've got their act together. They processed our permit quickly. They had the dollars we needed to build our facility. They've got great, you know, housing and other attractive things in the community for families. And so it kind of ends up snowballing. So I think in some communities, we need to come in and help make that initial investment to get other investments going. What we see in some parts of the Commonwealth where we've made those investments is the third and the fourth and the fifth thing to come requires less state money, requires less incentive because it's more of an attractive place to invest. And we expect similar good things to happen here in this area. I also think you can't sleep on the fact that you've got commissioners, local officials, state officials working together to get this done. That's a big deal. I mean, you've got a commissioner from a neighboring county here, right? It shows that kind of government's all working together. And I think if you're a CEO and you're locating your company here, you don't want drama from government. You want government to be helping you. You want the associations that are working with government to be in a strong place in terms of collaboration. We have that here in this community, and that's an important thing to celebrate. That's not going to show up on a spreadsheet when it comes to dollars and cents in a project, but it's an intangible that really matters to these companies, and it's something we have here in this community, and I'm proud to participate in that, to work closely with your local government officials who really have their act together. Thank you.
I have 2 more questions, one on topic.
2 more. Holy cow.
Real quick, hold on. Anything from you real quick before we come back? Can it be off topic? Start with, yeah, we'll come back over to you. Go ahead.
Okay. On topic, you mentioned just now that this is a type of area that needs more investment.
Yeah.
Have there been any workforce development issues made here in central Pennsylvania that would couple, you know, the industries that might be sniffing around project sites like this?
Well, I can let our local officials speak more specifically about this particular site. Let me speak more generally about the fact that we recognize dollars can't only go into a building or leveling a land or providing the hookups. It's got to go into our most valuable asset, and that is workforce. And so in addition to investing in sites across Pennsylvania, we're investing millions of dollars in workforce development. We've actually tripled our funding for VOTEC in our high schools, tripled our funding for apprenticeships and pre-apprenticeships. For big economic development deals, you mentioned 2 of them before, those the life sciences ones, we're actually investing in workforce development at those sites to be able to create a pipeline for folks from a community college into those companies. So we recognize how critically important that is, and we've been able to drive more dollars into that area to make sure we've got workers who are prepared to work in these facilities. depending upon who the end user ultimately is here, if there is a workforce component, this community will know to come back to us, and there's separate dollars available for workforce development to assist in that way. Did I answer your question? Great.
Governor Shapiro, Justin Geck with WNEP TV. Just off topic for you. You know, we're in a conflict right now with Iran. Oil prices are up. You know, you can see all over the state. I know Pennsylvania has one of the highest, you know, gas tax rates. What do you say to Pennsylvanians that are worried about, you know, continuing to pay more at the pump?
Look, I think what's clear is that there's no concrete plan in the Middle East right now. There's been no explanation to the American people as to what the goals and the strategic objectives are, and there's been no authorization from Congress for this war. That's a broader topic which we can debate another time, but what we are seeing because of that lack of clarity is now an impact here at home with rising prices. Gas prices went up about 12 cents overnight as a result of this. That combined with the tariffs that the president put in place have caused costs to rise over the last year. It's really concerning. Look, I talked before about how we've cut taxes 7 times in Pennsylvania. We're putting money back in people's pockets. When prices spike as a result of federal action, that makes it harder in communities here in central Pennsylvania and all across our Commonwealth.
Last question when you were there. Go ahead.
Governor, have you received any updates from the federal government with respect to the planned detention centers in Berks and Schuylkill counties? And on top of that, do you intend to file a lawsuit to stop that?
Great question. So we've been very outspoken. I've been very outspoken in my opposition to these 2 facilities in Pennsylvania. I've communicated that directly to Secretary Noem. We've heard nothing back in terms of their plans. Last week, I met with a bipartisan group of local and state officials in the community who in varying degrees expressed opposition to this in their communities. Look, there are broader issues here as it relates to immigration, but then there's also many local issues that were brought to my attention on the ground from officials of both parties, including the fact that one of these sites literally would drain all of the water resources in that community within 24 hours. They've got water resources that serve about 700 homes in that area. They would literally run out of water in a day. They wouldn't be able to flush their toilets or turn on a sink in a kitchen and, you know, be able to make their dinner. That's really troubling, and we've made clear to the federal government that what they are proposing is not workable, it's not sustainable, and it's not welcome in those 2 communities. As for what legal steps we will take, I promised an answer back on that over the course of these next couple weeks. I want to be a little bit careful about what I say now as we ready our next steps. But you can rest assured I'm going to use all of the authority that's vested in me as governor to stop this from coming and negatively impacting our communities.
I might have missed what you said, but have you had communication with Homeland Security or any other federal agency?
We have asked Homeland Security several questions about this project. We've expressed our reservations, both our own and the reservations we've heard from local officials, again, of both parties, and they have not responded to us yet. The federal government has vast power to be able to do a lot of this. I've also got power as governor to do everything I can to stop it, and I intend to use my power as governor to make sure we protect our communities here in Pennsylvania.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.